All right, here we go. Welcome to Ouch My 30s, hosted by your host, Duval Culpepper. The. I'm not gonna lie, I'm having trouble getting into these right now. It's hot as fuck. I'm literally doing this in my underwear. It's 90 degrees out. Uh, I'm sure my neighbors can look into my window and they see me perched at this home bar, completely naked. And that's okay. But let's get back into why I started this podcast. This is the podcast about the decade that no one prepared me for. Seemingly everything that I thought I had a handle on fell apart in my 30s. My body, my physical health, which are the same thing, my mental health, my relationships. I just realized that, like, while I still keep in touch with people I very much care about, I haven't seen many of these people in a very long time. So it's like everyone kind of moves on. And one of the things, and not like in a negative way, but you're like in your 20s, you have a problem. Like, everyone will stop what they're doing to, like, okay, let's meet up, let's get shit faced, we'll pack a bowl, and we'll talk about it. We'll get you back on your feet. In your 30s, people are like, yeah, that is really tough stuff to hear. Listen, I've got to go to bed because I have a mortgage now and 3 children I have to get to daycare in the morning before I go to my tech startup job, which pays me well, but is painful and drains my soul. So it's like, but I'm still the one who somehow is just wearing Hawaiian shirts still. I turn 34 next goddamn month. And I feel like I've accomplished things, but I'm also like looking around being like, what the fuck have the last 5 years been? So it's interesting. And one of the things that I've kind of been thinking about is this idea of familiarity and comfort versus ambition and risk. And I think that's what happens in your 30s. Like, in my 20s, I was like, it's all about, fuck it, I'm gonna get in my car, I'm gonna chase this dream, I'm gonna go to LA, I'm gonna fall in love, I'm gonna make a lot of money, I'm gonna decide that's not good enough, and then I'm gonna drive to Reno, Nevada, and have a weird night there, because I'm trying to be like Hunter S. Thompson, but people don't understand that the calamity that Hunter S. Thompson imbued upon himself through his alcoholism and meandering is what directly caused his suicide. Yeah. So it was a lot easier back then to kind of just fuck it. But now in your 30s, like, part of me specifically, it's like comfort and familiarity is kind of chill, brah. And I never, ever would have valued that. You know, it's like I remember the first time I left LA, like, it made no sense. I was dating this girl who, for all intents and purposes, was fucking awesome. She was hot. She was, she understood my rage to a certain degree. I was like working a lot. I was doing commercials. I was doing stand up. But, like, of course, at 25, 26, however the fuck old I was, like, this is 2013, so 7 years ago, 28, you can't appreciate that. And it's so textbook and cliche where, you're not valuing the things that you have at the time. But I had it all. I had my health. This sounds so fucking sad, but I sound like I'm 65. When I was a young man, let me tell you, I was in the talkies. I had sex with Delta Burke. That's my designing women. I'm getting some really wild texts right now from a girl who sends me things, and I don't. And I'm just like, very good. But anyway, yeah. So naturally, we don't appreciate shit when we have it, when it's good. And only when we can't have it anymore do we learn to appreciate that. But I think the beauty of our 30s is that we start to kind of see the first prelude. This is like the warning shot across the bow, where it's like, hey, you're 30 something, you're not 50. You're not trying to, like, get a IROC Z8 and, like, pull up in front of an open mic being like, yeah, I'm gonna be a comedian now. This is the first warning that if you don't take care of shit that you care about, it will fall apart, deteriorate, and disappear. Whether it's your body, relationships, or your mental health. So I guess the silver lining of me kind of facing, and if it's not clear, it's like I'm just like in a lot of physical pain. All my driving and depression has kind of taken a toll on my body. It's like I have, like, chronic neck pain and shit, which is not pleasant. And, I go to physical therapy and it helps, but, like, if my life is just sitting around beating off and like occasionally working, which is worked for whatever reason, I've built my life in such a way that I have to work very little and I make a good amount of money doing that. And then I don't have to deal with my problems. I can just drink heavily by myself and, beat off and call it a day. That takes a toll on your body. If you don't, and I guess I exercise. I've had a little bit of sangria, if this is all over the place. But what I'll try to keep this episode grounded in is this idea of comfort and familiarity versus chasing your dreams. And if it's still possible to do that in your 30s. Of course it is, but fuck is it harder? Like I used to just be able to hop on a plane and boom, that's it. And I've got loot and I've got money and I've got job, work, but it's like, what kind of bed is on the other side of that airplane ride? It's like, I can't sleep on a shitty bed anymore. The basic things, like that'll fuck up my back and neck and I'll be in pain. If I'm in pain, I'm not going to want to do anything and I'll be in a foreign place. Man, this is all for a psychiatrist and a physical therapist, not you guys, but I do appreciate it. But that said, is there something wrong with having found a place where you can kind of mitigate these problems that you have physically and mentally at the cost of your goals and aspirations? That's the question that I posit to anyone listening. Where, yeah, I can stay where I am, and a lot of it's good. A lot of it's familiar, a lot of it's comforting. But I know what I ultimately really need to be doing. But a caveat to that is like, look, in the age of COVID, like doing stand-up and being out in the world again, that reality is, look, DL Hughley, took a spill in Nashville in a club that didn't have anybody wearing masks and shit. And it's like, hey, maybe this universal slowdown needs to be in effect for a little bit longer. And not just because of COVID, but in general, it's like maybe we all just need to take a break and let ourselves heal. As a country, as a 30-something-year-old, as a viral infection that we don't have a cure for yet, maybe there's something okay with just pausing and being like, all right, I'm going to catch my breath. I'm going to go to physical therapy. I'm going to get a therapist that I actually continually see. I'm going to take antidepressants or anti-anxiety. I'm going to do things that I need to do, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to do that daring dream that we still have. Yes, it does get harder in your 30s or in life at any point. But it should, because I think it's showing you what is important. Like you had the luxury of bullshit with bullshit people for too long. All the bullshit people that I hung out with in my 20s, that like if I saw them now, I'd be like, get the fuck out of my face. You know what I mean? It's like bums, like legitimate bums, and slores of women that I'm like, why in the fuck was I chasing this fucking miserable, wretched woman when I could have been focusing on me and telling jokes and furthering my career? Well, I did write a book about it, How to Manage Your Girlfriend's White Guilt. So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. It's like that fire is still there, but it's just like the meat suit in the brain pod are like, please bring to service station. I know that there are things. This all sounds weird and cryptic, doesn't it, guys? I'm all right. I really fucked up my neck and shoulder, and it does hurt. And being in chronic pain physically does no good for your mental state of being. But I've talked about physical therapists and all that shit in other classes. Welcome to my TED Talk, Duval Culpepper. In 2020, I will teach you how not to destroy your body, mind, and wealth through your acute anxiety and depression. And do not let your family fuck that up for you for thinking you need to stick around and help them. It's so funny. I remember when I was a kid, this always stood out to me, and I tried to avoid it. But of course, we manifest the things we are imprinted upon as young people. My mom wanted to be an air traffic controller, I remember her telling me. But she didn't, because she would have to have left to go to school to do that. But she wanted to stick around and help her family. And I was like, I will never do that shit. I ain't sticking around to help these fucking idiots. But I ultimately did. I maybe did not end up helping them, but I felt this weird guilt to be around them. So thanks again, Mom, for fucking me up by imprinting your bullshit into my mind. I don't know. The sangria is good. Taking care of yourself versus chasing the dream. I guess you can't enjoy the dream or do the dream if you're broken up. Guess you gotta stay still. I don't know. There's something to be, but and then there's this like you gotta run before you walk, or you gotta take a leap off the thing to get to the other side. These are all quotes of Plato. They're not. So it's tough. It's tough to know. Safety just means a lot when you get older. Comfort means a lot when you get older. And it makes sense. I mean, I understand why my friends are getting married and have kids. It's gotta be nice to a certain degree to come home after a long fucking day, just to know what you're coming home to some degree. I never know what I'm coming home to. I never know where my home is. My home has been a fucking hotel or an Airbnb for the past 5 years. And while that had a lot of interesting moments and cute stories, I'm sick of being just caught in my own head. Driving fucking 12 hours at a time to go to some new city to get drunk by myself, talk to a few pretty girls, maybe get a number, maybe get a blowjob. Consensually. That Crystalia shit is wild. This is why I don't trust people who don't drink. Not that I have any. I hate talking about other comics. I mean, it's like it is like a weird thin blue line kind of thing. Let's let the justice system do its thing. But at the same, I mean, actually, I just give zero fucks about what Crystalia did or did not. Not in the sense that like if he was a scum. I mean, he's a scumbag. But I also like I don't know him, and all I know is what Twitter told me. So if he did do that, fuck that guy. If he didn't do that, fuck that guy. But that's LA, man. That's that LA power thing. And LA is the quintessential embodiment of desperation in old age. And I understand it better now. And I think when I'm in my 20s, I never understood why people were so desperate there to fucking protect the status quo. Because I'd always be shitting on it. I'm like, fuck this city. Fuck this place. Everyone's fucking fake and phony. And like, I guess maybe older people were just like, well, then why are you here? Then leave. And I was like, because fucking it'll change to suit me. But I understand now that, real life things make that window of opportunity narrow. And when they do, you want to protect it and keep it as long as you can. If that makes sense. It's like move to Wisconsin and like be the king of the comedy scene in Appleton, Wisconsin, or go to Nashville, and which is a cool town, but do I want to meet new people? Fucking 34 when I get there, be a 30. And it's again, I'm not like bemoaning the idea of like starting over, but it takes a lot out of you, and you got to be in the right mindset to be able to do that. But again, all these things that I'm saying just make it seem like it's abundantly clear that I need to fix me before I go out trying to fix some future dream that I have. I don't know. I'm not even drunk. It's just that maybe the sangria. Where do we go, my love? Like, there's a girl that I see who's probably listening to this right now, and I care about her a lot, and I could see a future, but it's just like everything else about where I am sucks. It's just like I live with a buddy of mine who's awesome, and like that's cool, but I have like 3 people that I can fucking talk to, in my life here, like face to face. It's like my friendships and my connections are really limited where I am. And I'm used to being able just to kind of like go out and like be amongst all different types of people. And that sustains me. And even as I say that, that makes me realize why the fuck I'm so sad. There we go. We talked it out. Which sucks. So it's just like where I am now is very comfortable and familiar, but it's not going to be able to sustain what is missing in my life, which is regular stand-up and a diverse group of friends. And again, like this isn't like, fuck these people where I'm at. Not at all. I love these people who I'm around right now, but it's just like a fucking... Like, this podcast is probably the longest I've spoken today. I don't like have that length conversations with anyone because I've isolated myself because dealing with pain is difficult. And rather than sort of reaching out to try to fix it, I go inward, which can be dark, and that's where you find the dark arts. Yeah. Maybe this was more exciting when I was complaining about my dad, but I don't give a fuck anymore. You know, it's like I was gonna, like, Father's Day was yesterday, or Sunday, yesterday. And I didn't call him, didn't go down there, because it's just, I have nothing to say. It's like, that's their life now. My mom wants to be with my father. Okay, I guess that makes sense for them. But it doesn't make sense for me. And I'm done forcing things into my life that I don't really feel like dealing with. That don't enrich me. If a situation doesn't enrich me, I want nothing to do with it, which again answers another one of my many questions and just circumstances that I've been suggesting here. A girlfriend or like a quick lay, you know? How long does that last? Just fucking your way through life. I don't know. Because where I am is like a white purgatory. You know, it's just like people who all they care about is just the aesthetics of where they are. And I'm living in the embodiment of people who have chosen comfort and familiarity rather than their dreams. And I think maybe that's why I feel this like static fucking dissonance of where I am. But again, outside of like, you know, my buddy Adam, my buddy Dan, it's like, you know, those are dudes that are fucking, you know, lifelong friends. But it has nothing to do with them. It has to do with where I am geographically, where I have what I have access to. But then it goes back to the COVID thing, and it's just like, is there anything even out there? Oh boy. White women view Black Lives Matter as an extension of gender equality, and that's a problem. All right, I'm gonna lay down and I'm not gonna lay down. I'm gonna watch Star Trek Enterprise, which I love. Man, I've been watching me some Star Trek Enterprise. Show does suck. The first season is just, I watched the pilot's awesome, but then everything after that's just like ugh. Yeah, this is why I need stand up. I need response. I can't just be in my own head trying to, because that's the thing. On my own, I don't really give a fuck. I'm like, yeah, that's good. That's good. It's good. Like my inner monologue is like a southern redneck who's like, well, that sounds good. Go do something about it. I need connection. And I think that is the truth that I actually just learned here. And that's the other thing. That's like with this COVID shit where people can be very blasé about like, we need to shut down, we need to remain socially distant. Some of us cannot survive socially distant. Now, some people want to make this about like, some people just don't want to wear masks, or they just want haircuts, or they just want to go to Applebee's. Maybe there are some people who just want the creature comforts of living in the first world. Now, there are other people, like myself, who live on the fringe of society, who don't have many meaningful personal connections in their lives, physical ones, face-to-face ones, people who don't have intact nuclear families that they can text or FaceTime or, do fucking fun email chains with on a regular basis to feel connected to humanity. Not all of us have that. Some of us literally just have that bartender who's staying open till 4 a.m., even though you're the only patron there, and staying open, humoring your conversation, and giving you some form of human connection, because she knows that's all that you have. And you'll tip her well. And our time's not wasted. But some of us are going to die if we keep on like this. And not from COVID, not from a virus, which I'm not understating the severity of. But some of us need human connection in order to live. And if you want to sit inside and fucking with your goddamn house you just bought and the wife that you kind of like, with your telecommuting job, and you just can't understand why some people can't just stay inside until the government tells us it's safe to go outside, well, it must be nice. But you're killing a lot more people in a lot of other ways who depend on regular massages because they have chronic neck and back pain. And maybe that's the only physical connection they have with another human being. One they pay $110 for. Not me, because I only do the 30 minutes. That's about 45. But seriously, yeah, you gotta let people. You can't for your own protection. Fine, it's about other people. I don't know. They stay home. This is I now know. I mean, the media does a horrible job of illustrating why people believe the things that they do. It's the same thing with like whether you're for Trump or against him. It's like, well, if you voted for Trump, you're a racist. If you didn't vote for Trump, you're not. It's like, well, something probably tells me it's a little bit more involved than that. But sure, that's a good lowest common denominator. And the same thing with the masks and the shutdowns and the opening too soon, quote unquote. Some people live with abusive husbands. Some people live with abusive wives. Some people live in family situations that are directly threatening to their lives. Some people have imprisoned fathers who are released early from prison that they frankly don't trust or get along with necessarily. Some people need to be able to go to a bar at 2 o'clock in the morning by themselves, because if they don't, well, hey, that conversation with the .357 Magnum and the hollow point bullet might go a little shorter this time. I don't know. Consider it, guys. Not everybody has other people. Comfort versus ambition. You gotta let people soar, right? You gotta let people soar. I don't know, I'm just trying to sound like fucking you gotta let people soar. See? Alright, I'm gonna do 3 different actors saying that line. You gotta let people soar! No, that's horrible. You, me, together. You gotta let people soar. You gotta let people soar. All right, then we'll do John Malkovich. You have to let people soar. And I asked the question. You asked the question, and I answered. You have to let people soar. Now, I don't even know what I'm talking about. I don't know. All right, maybe I'm drunk now. This maybe got a little dark. I hope you listened. I hope my voice sounded clear. That is good sangria. Goddamn. Hey, this episode brought to you by Santa Fe, Uptown Kingston. They'll feed you sangria, and then shit will get real dark. All right, guys, this is Ouch My 30s. God, does it fucking hurt. Thanks for listening.